All right. And welcome to another episode of Cubfidential. This is the Major League Baseball NL and the AL League Championship Series episode. We've got four teams left. Incidentally, an 87 win team and 390 win team. So who's going to take it all? I am your producer, Denzel Snipes, and we have a special guest tonight. One of my buddies, my partner's been doing it for a long time. You can catch us on the Gauntlet Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Also, we just got done with the Picked Off show with the NFL picks for Week 7. So please go and check that out on YouTube. Hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bell. Also, follow us on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, as well as Facebook and LinkedIn. And without further ado, he's back finally. And somewhat of a new man now. He's got a little ring on his finger. So welcome. He's still the Brooklyn bad boy, but he's now the Chicago Crusader. This is JB Ellis.
What's going on, Denzel?
Hey, what's up, man? Welcome back. Welcome home.
Listen, I've been around the world and I can't find the Cubs in the playoffs. What happened? I left
Ah,
what about? I had you do the last three shows
mm-hmm.
because I was taking care of some business, going around the world, the JB Ellis World Tour, and the Cubs were in a great position, and I was touting them to people in Mexico, the Middle East, all around the world, and they collapsed.
They did. They did.
But
They did. But I
and
mean,
I
of course, we'll get into that with the wrap up as soon as the World Series is over. But yeah, when you left, it was like they had a shot, and then
they control their own destiny, and now we're watching the Diamondbacks and Phillies,
mhm.
two wild card teams, and then the AL we got the AL West going at it for, which is shocking. It's interesting. I mean, uh, um, you got Bryce Harper who thinks who he is. I love it. He watched Yasiel Puig for a while and got some attitude going.
Yeah.
Remember Yasiel Puig when he first got to the Dodgers, where he was having a lot of fun. Bryce
Oh
Harper's
yeah.
starting to have a lot of fun playing baseball, and he's leading his team, which is fun. And I'm sure we'll talk to somebody named James Tatum about that.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so it's interesting to see. I mean, the Phillies have just been doing well, and I'm glad to see that. But I'm going to say that the wild card setup for MLB just something's not right about it. That you got all these teams with 100 wins, 97, 98 wins. They're sitting at home watching, you know, these teams that didn't win the division. And 2 years in a row, something to think about. I had a conversation with one of the writers from the IBWAA for Texas, and I said it was the playoff schedule. He said it was possibly the balanced schedule. I'll ask Jacob and James when they come on in just a second. But do you think there's a problem with the MLB playoffs? I'd love to know what everybody thinks. Let's bring on Jacob and James. Everyone's here. Look at that.
Yeah, one a little more gray hair than the other.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Everyone's got a hat on.
I'm starting to get there a little bit.
Well, it's better early than never.
That's all the stress of having to produce quality content like you do every week. So
I think that's true. I think that's part of the reason.
when you're good, you're good. And we're going to start with a topic that should make you happy, though.
Okay.
First of all, before we get into the whole question that our great producer Denzel came up with, Bryce Harper, is that man not like on fire? I don't like Bryce Harper, but I got to give him respect. I have no problem not liking somebody but respecting them because he's basically putting that team on his back offensively.
Yeah. I don't agree with that. I think the whole team is contributing.
I'm not saying that
Schwarber.
I'm not saying that they're not contributing, but I'm saying he's the leader of that team.
Oh yeah, he clearly is, and he's a guy that he just plays really well in Philadelphia. Like everything just seemed to work out. Like is the way he carries himself, the way he goes about his business. He just really resonates well with the city. So I feel like, all the fans and everything, Citizens Bank Park, it's been crazy. Phillies in the postseason outscored teams at home just this postseason 39-8 between the Marlins series, the Braves series, and so far in the NLCS. So Bryce just he fits right into Philly, and I think that he carries that Philly chip on his shoulder, and that's really what makes him great.
I heard a story. I want to say it was after Game 2 against the Braves.
Mm-hmm.
I think Arcia was talking something, and Bryce just shut him up.
About that.
Just shut him up by hitting home run after home run, and took his slow trot and stared him down, and listen,
incredible.
Again, I'm not a fan of the guy, but I have nothing but respect for him. And there's no particular reason why I'm not a fan of him. It's not like I dislike him. Just not one of my favorite guys. It's not a bad thing. But I can have nothing but respect for his play, and Philly's got to love having him there.
You sure do.
So now let's get to the great question. The Phillies are up 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
They have 14 home runs in the last 5 postseason games, which is a record.
Yeah.
Is this team better than last year's team? So I'm going to not start with you, James, because you know the team. I'm going to start with Jacob, who, is our Cubs expert.
Do I think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, they're better, without a question. Plus, they're on a mission. They really, really were on a mission by itself. And in truth, now that we see this, they should have. I'm just going to say this part right here. They should have swept the Braves. The Braves that one game was the reason I thought they'd go back to 5 in the first place, just because the Braves scored. And I've been to a few of the games this year. The Braves can score at will at any part of the inning. So I was thinking that they're, especially in the last game in Game 4. Now, Game 3, they got the butt kicked. That was a butt kicking, James. Butt kicking. And that was the thing. I was thinking Game 4, Strider, everything like that. It's like you get the early lead and then they get that 5 runs in the 8th or something, because that's what the Braves did most of the year. But it didn't happen. But the Phillies, the biggest thing with something like them is them being on a mission. They want this. And I did say this after the fact. With the Braves gone, I thought the winner of the Phillies and Braves go to the World Series, and it's looking like the Phillies.
So, James, is this team better than last year's team?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you got to also look at, some of the moves that the team made. I mean, bringing in Trey Turner. Trey Turner has been incredible in the postseason. Everyone can talk about Bryce. Everyone can talk about, Castellanos has been unbelievable as well. But Trey Turner, I mean, you go from having a guy like Segura, who's a decent player, but we know there's a clear difference. So this guy's just making a lot of plays and adding stuff to the lineup, and, the experience of the team. You have to say, like, after that World Series, that run, the difference between the run of last year and this year is that last year people didn't really see the Phillies coming. This year, you're coming off that World Series appearance, loss to the Astros. Now people are like, okay, you know what? This Philly team is pretty good. They're probably going to be in the playoffs again, and they were. Going up against Atlanta, division rival, taking them out, best offense in baseball. Their offense was pretty much totally shut down, other than that Game 2 mishap, as Jacob alluded to. So I think the team is clearly better. It's not even close.
Well, for one big thing, I just wanted to say this. To be able to we are seeing this from baseball by itself. It's like with a lot of these 100-win teams and stuff, it's not easy to get back. So for the Phillies to keep doing this and keep the momentum and keep their heads in this shows that they have a mission and they're going, because it really, really shows that truthfully, when we had the 2 years of COVID, we had 144 games or something, 152 games or something. To me, that's better than 162. And it's like, to me, it's better than 162. And it shows that the regular season just in the end doesn't matter. It's like if you do enough and you get there, because it's like you take the week, and I don't have a problem with the playoff scenario at all. I have no problem. just because even the Braves were saying it. I mean, Snitker said it. It didn't seem to hurt the Astros.
So here's a question for both of you guys. James, again, I'm going to ask you last since you're the Philly guy. I mean, do the Phillies have the easiest path to the World Series in recent memory? I mean, the Braves collapse every October. You know, they're when it gets to October baseball, they become a different team. I don't know if they just can't handle the pressure. They're not built to win in the postseason. You know, because it's different winning games during the regular season than winning postseason games. There's a ton more pressure. Everything matters. You know, winning a game on July 27th as opposed to October 10th, totally different. You know, so and now they're playing the Diamondbacks, who they're just manhandling. So is this the easiest path to the World Series that teams had in recent memory, or you know, are these just good teams that Philly's that much better? Jacob?
I thought you were talking to James there.
No, you first.
No,
you first. I want to give the Philly guy the last word on this.
Okay, absolutely. No, I don't care about what people say about it. Is it the toughest? They're all. If you made it, you're the toughest. You really are. If you made it, you're there. So it doesn't matter on the thing. And just like we brought up with Houston, they might lose to Texas, but they made it. They overcame the weak, and they won. There's an excuse. Cubs got ours in 16, and we had 103 wins. But at the same time, you never know. The Cardinals got theirs last one, 83 wins. You know what I'm saying? It's how hot are you? Maybe sometimes you shouldn't have 110 wins. Remember Seattle years ago? Seattle had 116 wins and doesn't get even to the NLCS.
Correct.
Yeah, and it's like you just can't tell. You get yourself tight. You overthink. I think the 84 win. How many wins did the Phillies have this year, James?
90.
90 wins, 85 wins. I don't think you're thinking about as much as you are with 100 because everybody's talking about you. Everybody's talking about you. So it's like sometimes you're talking about getting in your head and everything like that. I think when you're continuously having to for one thing, with Philadelphia, they just been constantly playing. So you have a hot streak. You don't take any time off. That's momentum. That's what a lot of people, football fans, for instance, don't like about bye weeks is you get a 3-game winning streak and you got to bye. You know, some people, there are just some that just continue to work off the momentum, and then taking the week off. Either way, though, I don't mind the way the playoffs is because by itself, who cares? You know, who gets hot? Who gets hot?
And while you're answering that, what does Arizona need to do to make this a series again?
They have got to, and I'm just saying this, and we have to say this part right now. Absolutely, positively, do not give any energy to the Phillies. The Phillies stole all the energy from the Braves. The Braves had a ton of energy all year long. The Phillies have all this energy now. You've got it, and they do. And I'm not saying the Phillies didn't. I'm just saying that it's like they went into that home place and stole their energy. And good for them. So they got extra. You've got to, I think, in truth, they've got to take them out of the game the first 4 or 5 innings. You know, whether it's a 0-0 or they hit quick. Otherwise, the Phillies give themselves any chance, it's going to be a 6-run inning. It's over.
Well, the Diamondbacks have already done that. They've already given the Phillies energy because one of their pitchers came out with some comments the other day about how he didn't think Citizens Bank Park was going to be that loud, and it's not as loud as other games and stuff that he's been a part of. So, you know,
right.
that's kind of like taking a shot at the fans, and the fans they responded with 112 decibels in game 2. So
I'm just gonna say one thing on that. I'm gonna cut you off, James. Anyone that knows anything about sports, and that's a major league pitcher, the Philly fans are one of the best fan bases in the world. You know, Chicago, New York, Philly, great fans. To say something like that, just dumb. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, And we saw what happened. Kind of like in the last series, Arcia with his comments about Bryce. Same thing. You're giving the players energy, you're giving the team energy, and giving the fans energy. So that's what happened there.
I'll answer this too. You want to know what they're trying to do when they do these things? They're trying to anger them. Anger.
You don't want to anger Philly people. We're already angry.
Right. No, I'm talking about
make
the
us more
players.
angry.
I'm talking about the players. See,
Oh.
it's easy to anger the Philly fans. I mean, you breathe in the morning, say good morning, it gets them angry. it's like, I mean, there's that thing. I'm talking about the players. You're trying to anger them. Truthfully, all it's going to do, if you have the right mindset, all it's going to do is make them laugh, and then they're just going to kill you. And they're just going to kill you, and it's like, it's what happens when you already there. If you anger somebody, most of the time, anger has a negative effect. So they're trying to do something like that. But there's just some people, they're just going to laugh it off and then kill you. So you have to know who you're dealing with.
And to honestly make a comment that, Philly fans aren't loud, you obviously don't know anything about sports. I mean, it's not like we're talking about an Australian place kicker that, just came over to kick for the Jets or something like that. They would have no clue about American sports. So I don't get how you could ever say that Philly fans aren't loud or, that mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Maybe because I only lived an hour and a half from Philadelphia, so many years, and I've gone to Citizens Bank Ballpark and the Vet, and to the old Spectrum and, the new basketball arena, maybe, I've seen the Giants play the Eagles many times. So they're really good fans in Philadelphia.
Philly's
Dumb.
the only fan base that did not whatsoever change in life. Like, you watch Rocky 1976 and you see the kind of the people you see, they're the same 2023, 47 years later. They are. We
love the teams. We ride and die for the teams. A lot of people bring up how we boo players and we do things like that. It's because the city's big about accountability. And if you do what you're supposed to do, then they're going to love you. But if you don't, and you also don't care about trying to do better, then they're not going to love you.
Well, I give you guys credit because being a Cubs and a Bears fan, trust me, I've seen the changes, especially Bears fans the last 20 years. I wish the Bears fans would have stayed the same as the Philadelphia fans did, because then they would care about winning instead of getting their what's tickled for highlights. See, at least Philly does. I guarantee this that they care about winning in Philly.
Yeah.
Donovan McNabb. Why are you talking about my friend Denzel?
McNabb's too busy barfing on the side, during the Super Bowl.
Listen, the 30 for 30 on the handshake.
Huh?
Listen, the 30 for 30 on the handshake is going to be on ESPN at one point. Just remember that.
The handshake.
For everyone that doesn't know, me and Donovan McNabb shook hands at the NFL Super Bowl Gospel celebration. And it was remarkable. It was life-changing.
It was beautiful. It was like something in a movie. You never see something like this before.
Listen, I can tell you the story, but not on Cubfidential. You have to watch, a show that's oriented on football so we can go over it. But there should be a 30 for 30 on it. It was phenomenal. It was breathtaking. There was so many adjectives. I could go on forever. But, we spoke enough about the NL, and I think Philly is going to make the World Series at this point. And we'll get to have James back on so we can talk the Phillies winning the World Series. But let's talk about the AL. Right now, the Rangers are up 2-0. Jay wants to know if they can close out the series in Arlington over the next 2 games. What's your thoughts, James?
No, I don't think it's going to happen. I think that the Rangers have thrown some punches at the Astros, but at the end of the day, this is a team that's been here like 7 years in a row. They have that experience. They have that pedigree. So, no, they're not going to just roll over and die for the Texas Rangers. So there definitely needs to be some changes with their offense. Their offense is just not really able to get it going other than Alvarez. So, like, I mean, you can't win the game with only one guy showing up. So these bats need to get hot tonight. They need to score. They need to put stuff on the board, and then everything will take care of itself. But I don't think that the Astros are dead yet. And I actually wouldn't be surprised if they take this thing 2-2, and then Texas Rangers fans start to get a little bit nervous.
Jacob?
Oh, yeah. I don't think it's over, but I was saying, like, before the season, but when the whole thing ended, I was saying that I wanted Dusty to retire. There's a reason. You're in your 70s, and you just won a World Series finally. And it's like, that would have been a way to go out. But he just loves the game too much. You know, it's what do you do? But Texas is so hot right now. Same time, baseball. It's more, I mean, baseball's not like football or basketball or whatever. You could be so hot with the bats and then cold in a minute. So Houston could easily make this, and Houston's a really, really good team. They're a really loaded team. So, no, I don't think they finished it out in Arlington, not at all. But far as that home, though, it's like the one thing I hate about Minute Maids is so small. So the road team actually has a better chance over there. They have a better chance over there just because of all of the how small it is. You can hit home runs at will.
You know, I'd like to bring Denzel in. I don't know what he's doing up behind the scenes, creating questions for next week, but he's from Houston.
I doubt that.
That's his team.
Probably watching his team play.
Yeah.
Right now, they got some runners on. They're trying to make some trouble. So, I mean, what's going on with this series? Is it going to end in Arlington? Is it going back to Houston? What's happening?
I think it'll go back to Houston. But one thing that we can't do is overlook the Texas Rangers. Keep in mind that for the majority of the season and for 139 days, actually, the Rangers led the division. The total number of days that the Astros led the division, 19. So in a lot of people's eyes, the Rangers should have won the division. Now, this is not quite like a season that we've had in recent history because we only won 90 games. We've been injury decimated all year long, too. Then there was the midseason Verlander trade back, and somehow, some way, the Astros won a division and made it back to the ALCS and everything. But no, the Rangers are double tough. I'm not overlooking them one bit. We're talking about a 100-loss team just 2 years ago, and now they're at 90 wins, and they made the ALCS. So great for them. But as far as the Astros goes, game one, you can't spot them a 4-run lead in the first inning. Game two, you got to get your bats going a little earlier. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Game two, they spot them a 4-run lead. Game one was 2-0. And it seemed like whenever we got a shot to the outfield, they would make a play and catch it, So it was a little bit of luck on the Rangers side. We got to get the bats going early, and we got to strike fast. And I think we got a good chance, but our offense has to look like the offense that we have come to know. James is right. Other people other than Alvarez has got to step it up. Alvarez had 2 home runs last game, and we still managed to lose by 1 run, So
nobody else can get anything.
Yeah, and that was a game where and then even Bregman homered too. I think we just ran out of time, but also at the same time, you spot them 4 runs, things like that can happen. So I still got faith in my team. I ride and die with my team anyway. I've got them tying the series as of right now. But of course, we'll see.
It helps too when Scherzer throws a wild pitch and you score a run because there were 2 outs. You didn't get a run in into the bases loaded. Yeah, you got to run without having to worry. Now, just got a couple of more runs. It's 3-0. So, and
it helps that DeGrom's not in there because he can't stay healthy ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mad Max is still hanging around. So,
what's your thoughts, Jacob, on this?
Well, where I'm at, just like I was going to say before, I think it's a tie. I think they can tie along with that, but at the same time, I think Rangers have just because of that park. I think just that small Minute Maid park. I just feel like if they've got a hot bat and whatever, they're just going to get their 4 runs again. I think they have a chance of winning it, but it'd be in Minute Maid.
So Jay, answer your question.
Yes, they can. But I mean, you gotta jump on them and jump on them early. whoever's out there on the mound. You got to jump on them early, and you have to kind of, put that concern, on the crowd on the other team. The Astros have played particularly well in globe life. So there's one advantage right there. And just like James said, this is the Rangers' first ALCS appearance since 2011. And that year they won the pennant, but the Astros have had the experience. They've been there before. It's the seventh straight ALCS. So we'll see. The Astros have been to the biggest stage before. They've been on big stages, and we've seen results of the last 7 years. And just seeing what the Rangers got. It's not over with yet, but we have got to go to town early. I cannot stress that enough. We got to go to town early because the Rangers, they're a team that you talk about the Braves, Jacob. The Rangers are a team that can score in bunches also.
Absolutely. And here's the thing I have to think about as the time goes on at this life. In this life, when we talk about sports psychiatrists, psychologists, whatever, you have to wonder if a lot of these teams, like a Dodgers, Braves, any of them, are going to really start to emphasize the mental aspect, really emphasize it, maybe talk about it more, any of that kind of stuff, because a lot of these big-time teams, Dodgers and whatever, are freezing up. And it's like, you have to wonder, do you need to do more yoga? Do you need to meditate? Do you need to relax? It's like, is relaxing something someone's having trouble with? Any of those things, because we've lost a pile of big-time teams in the last couple of years. So you have to wonder if they're really going to emphasize the mental state of the game, which sounds like a pundit topic, but
I gotta disagree with that take, Jacob. I don't think that any amount of meditating and stuff like that you're talking about is going to change anything when it comes to this. When it comes to sports, and especially in the postseason, it's about you're either ready for the big moment or you're not. So there's no amount of stuff that you can do that's gonna give you that. You either have that or you don't.
The Braves won it. The Braves won it in 21. Well, the Braves won it in 21, which I actually thought Houston would win that one.
They did win it in 21, so that was the one anomaly for them. But every year, pretty much prior to that, they were losing in the playoffs.
Understood. Let me say this though: it's like they won it in 21, but it shows that they're somewhere there. No one, I don't think anybody saw that coming, so they didn't have the same nerves. What I was just bringing, and I agree with you, James. What I'm just bringing up is there are specific. I mean, the Dodgers won with they won the 60-game bubble ring with nobody around. We got that. The Lakers did the same thing. So we have those, but you have to wonder. You have to wonder just by itself, and you're correct on what you said, but it's like, I mean, what do you do? What do you do? It's like with certain players, whatever, any sport whatsoever, when you're tight, when there's everything, are they going to get, not to say that they're going to do this, but what would it take? Do you talk to a sports psychologist more? What do you do? Because you'll get 15 years in and still not have a chance. It'll be Chris Paul. I mean, James Harden doesn't care. But James Harden doesn't care. But you get Chris Paul, who tightens up. So then, what do you do in these situations? What happens? And people used to think of this with Bryce Harper before he finally figured it out. Bryce Harper figured it out, but he was kind of considered a halfway of a bust before this. Got to remember, they won in 19 with Washington when he gone. With him gone, he was considered halfway of a bust, and then he figured it out. So somewhere, somehow, someone's got to figure it out. But where does it happen?
Good question.
Great questions. I mean, right now, both series are 2-0, right?
Yeah.
Who's going to be the World Series? Really quickly, James.
Phillies Astros rematch. Astros in 7. Phillies in 4.
All right, I got Astros Phillies rematch. Same. I mean, it's like Philadelphians. They want that rematch. We want that rematch also because historically, they got us in 1980, and then we got them last year. there has to be a rubber match. There just has to be, So I've got Astros Phillies World Series.
Jacob?
Make it 3 for 3. I do too. Because the Astros are just so. But I'm just saying, if the Rangers prove us wrong, I don't think it's going to be in Arlington. I just don't. I think it's a. I think it's a 6-7. It is or the 5th or whatever inside of Minute Maid. It's just I just think it's that I think it's that small ballpark, and I think a lot of these teams have a lot of confidence going to the bandbox.
Listen, I'm going to make it a sweep. The only thing I think is wrong that was said, the Phillies are going to win at 5. It's going to be a gentleman's sweep. Arizona's going to pull out one game. I think the Astros, as they see right now, are taking care of Scherzer, so they're going to win tonight. Then after that, they're going to win Game 4. They're going to win Game 5 because they're going to have momentum. And unfortunately for the Texas Rangers, they're going to be gone in Game 6. It doesn't make Game 7. I think the experience that the Astros have is why that they're still in this series down 2-0. That's why Arizona doesn't have a chance down 2-0. But they'll win a game, so it'll go to 5. So let's go to our next topic. Jay, you can drop off, which you did already. Let's go to the Hot Cub Time Machine. So Jacob, tell us about this ALCS in 2006 with Maglio Ordonez 3-run blast at the bottom of the ninth. First Tiger pennant in 22 years.
I am not quite sure it was the Kirk Gibson. I'm not sure of that part, but it's right. But it was the era of that. It was that era's version. Remember, we have a new era of people that see the baseball. They're not going to remember Kirk Gibson, or they were way too young. That was their era. And especially, remember, that was 1984. So that's 1984 when you saw that part. So now you have yours. And you now have people going back and watching Maglios, where before they would have gone back and watched Kirk just to wait for that. Tigers, they get their wins every 20 some odd years. They get their good seasons every 20 years. It's the kind of the crazy part about that. But what'd you say?
So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, they get that, and it's like you wish because the Tigers are so classic. You wish they had more, but they don't. But it's one of those deals where it's like it's really nice for baseball to see something like that, and they always seem to do it in the most dramatic of fashions. So you got another era. You got another era that got to see theirs, and now you're seeing this era watching Maglio. That if you're watching Kirk, you're just watching. You're watching Kirk. You're watching grainy footage.
What do you think about that, Mr. Tatum? Do you remember that? I mean, you would have been pretty young at that point.
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
I didn't have gray hair yet. No.
I didn't have hair back then.
I didn't have gray hair. I've always had hair.
Surprise.
All right. So, last topic of the night, our Cub or Dud. Well, we're still saying Cub or Dud, guys, after the Cubs just dudded.
The Cubs just went
If
dud.
that's a word. Yes. Is a pitcher going to win the NLCS or ALCS MVP?
No, because the chicks dig the
I
long
don't
ball.
think so.
Chicks dig the long ball, as Greg Max would say.
Both of you say no?
Yeah,
I'm saying no.
because chicks dig
Yeah,
the
I'm
long ball.
going to go with no. When you have a guy like Scherzer who gives up 3 runs already, that's your – if to win a CS MVP, AL or NL, you need a name or you need to be amazing.
Yeah.
And that's just not happened so far, nor do I see it happening.
Well, Bryce Harper's got
a
the
guy like
NLCS
Scherzer.
one wrapped.
It's going to be
As long as the
Alvarez and
Phillies
Harper.
finish the deal.
Harper's got his wrapped. So we already seen this.
Yeah.
He
So
could, but he won't.
Jay,
He won't. He's been very good in the postseason, though. Him and Noah have both performed very well.
Yeah. No, but Harper's going to get his. But see, the whole thing with Harper, the difference between he and Schwarber Here's the biggest difference. Harper can hit more than home runs. Harper can hit it all over the place.
Jay, what's the first day of the World Series? It should already be scheduled because sports do that when it comes to the big series. They usually don't wait for it to stop. Because both of these, for example, went to sweeps. They're not going to start the World Series. I don't believe that.
You can come on, Jay. You can come over here.
Yeah, I'm looking. Hang on a second. No, not that right there. Oh.
Hey, Denzel, just a little piece of news. James Harden is currently in the city of Houston right now.
He's probably at some strip club.
Hey, of course he is. With peaches and,
I
with peaches and green.
Shout out though. I gotta give a shout out to the schedule makers of the NLCS, because just thinking about it from this perspective, Game 3 is tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern time, so 5 p.m. Philly time, and like 2 p.m. Arizona time. So like, where are these fans gonna be at? Like it seems like the Phillies fans is gonna take over Arizona, because these Arizona people are gonna be at work and like picking the kids up from school. So like, how the hell are they gonna get to the game? I just don't know.
Well,
it's
like, no. It's Arizona. It's Arizona. They're all 77 years old. They're all gonna be asleep.
Like 2:00 in the afternoon, man.
Yeah, it's all Arizona people. They're all playing shuffleboard and going to sleep at night.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Game 1 of the World Series is on October the 27th. And Stroh scored again 4-0.
Yeah, good. I mean, I think, like I said, I think they're going to come back and take the series.
Rangers going to choke.
But, I think we got a long time before we get to the World Series with all this happening.
JB, I had one question for James, just,
Yeah.
So the hottest free agent, obviously, in the offseason is Shohei Ohtani. So if it were up to you and you had the means, would you go get Ohtani? Ohtani to the fields, what you think?
I mean, of course I would. I mean, anybody would want to add any great player to their team. So anybody that says they wouldn't, don't really understand. Do we particularly need him? No, we don't. So, I mean, I probably would say that we're not gonna sign him. But if you're just asking me, like, there was an opportunity that presented itself, then sure it would. Like, he's a great player. Like, you always want to add great players to your team.
Of course. And then question number 2, would you have him pitch also? Would you add him to the rotation?
No,
I wouldn't. I'm very happy. I'm very happy with our pitching.
Jacob, I think you alluded to that he doesn't need to pitch anymore.
No, I've said that. He doesn't need to pitch anymore. It's like, for one thing, he's not going to pitch in 24 at all. They say 25. He ain't going to, because here's the big thing about it. He's hit 300, barely 300 by the end of the year, and he was starting to struggle before he just shut down. You know what I mean? He barely hit on the 300. He is a tremendous hitter. You just wait until he has no pitching and no anything like that and don't have that extra energy. You'll see a 340, 350 hitter.
Yeah.
So would I want him on the Cubs? Oh, with him not pitching, absolutely. Because I know darn good and well that hitting is going to be at another level. Because they keep trying to compare him to Bruce, and I'm bringing that up. You don't know of anything because he's not going to hit to that 360, 370 level while he's pitching.
Sure.
Now he has a chance to really see where that's at, because he's a phenomenal hitter. I'm just saying everybody's doing it based off of emotion, and they don't want the old time world to even exist anymore, which that's not fair. But Shohei Ohtani, he's going to be the next level hitter once he's out of that pitching staff. So I don't want him on that in the first place. But would I take him on the Cubs? Let's just hope Suzuki's a better salesman than he is a hitter.
Wow.
Thanks, Jamie.
Interesting to see where he ends up later, Jay. But we'll see everybody next week. James, if you're available and the Phillies are still relevant, you're more than welcome to come back. I have a feeling they will be.
Sure, I would love
to. And Jacob, the Cubs aren't relevant until next year. Ross is still at the helm. so we can pretty much cross out next year already.
Hey,
maybe we should call
let's trade Ross for Aaron Boone.
Listen, if you want Boone, you could have him. But until next week, this was Cubfidential. Denzel doing all the producing work, coming up with the great topics. James bringing in the Philly energy. I don't know how we like it in Chicago. I can't say it's a great thing. Those fans of Philly are really low. It's not very loud in Citizens Bank Ballpark. Idiots. What an idiot to say that.
Stupid. He may be on the gauntlet. He may be on the sports moron of the week. Tune into the
that was
gauntlet
just
Friday.
dumb. But until next week, we will see you. Don't forget, watch the Gauntlet Friday night. You got Pundit Thursday night, South Florida Tribune coming up in just a few minutes, the Sports Exchange. If you're in the Atlanta area or not, go to 99.1 and listen to Sideline Sports and the NFL pregame show. We were on this morning at 7 a.m., the NFL pregame show every Sunday, 12 to 1. And there's just so many shows we have. We actually have a big announcement coming really soon as well. So let me know what else is going on, guys. Make sure you're following us. Until then, we'll see you next week.
Take care.